Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we'll be talking about season 2 of the show The Wheel of Time. Fun fact, The Wheel of Time is based off of books by Robert Jordan, and the series consists of 14 volumes and one prequel, with the last three in the series completed by Brandon Sanderson because Jordan passed away in 2007. This season came out in 2023 and stars Rosamund Pike, Josha, Stradowski, and Madeleine Madden and was developed by Rafe Judkins. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Season 2 of The Wheel of Time picks up with the group from the two rivers all on separate journeys and all believing Rand to be dead, except for Moraine. Moraine is trying to keep the secret that Rand is alive and that he is the Dragon Reborn, but that is becoming hard when the Forsaken Landfear is getting close to him with hopes of switching Rand to the dark side. Slowly, the group learns more about themselves, but also what role they play, and must figure out how to stop these evil foes. The Wheel of Time is a fantasy show that can be a little confusing and is filled with lots of characters. It has similar vibes to Game of Thrones, Shadow and Bone, or The Witcher. Season 2, I felt like was going to be a hit or miss with this show, and I'm glad that it was a hit. I think season 1 felt like it was a little dull at times, and they needed to explain some things in the show a little bit more. And I felt like it was just missing something, but it was still interesting enough for me to continue watching and want a season 2. And I think that season 2 had a great balance of action and story while also introducing us not only to more characters but also more locations. Let me start by saying whoever got Rosamund Pike to star in this show deserves a promotion. She plays this character that can manipulate so well, and I love to see Moraine manipulate people with the way she answers questions without lying but telling the truth in a way that answers the question but also doesn't tell the whole story. I feel like every show wherein someone has, a supernatural power, like a witchy type vibe, they always have this moment where the person with those powers loses them, which is something that I hate because it happens in nearly every show. But in this season, it was Moraine who was the person that lost the power for a minute. But I thought that this season did a good job of using it as a lesson to show what happened when someone is cut off from the one power, which is like their magic. When the show shows Moraine getting her power back, they showed us how good she is with the one power and definitely is someone that you would want on your side. I still am a bit confused on what the Blue Aja do, but they really should be happy that they have someone like Moraine on their side. I love how we get to learn more about Moraine's family and learn more about why she is the way that she is and about her complicated family structure. This also was great to show the lack of aging with the Aes Sedai because we saw her younger sister who looked way older than she did. I was also very sad that her nephew betrayed her and was a dark friend, but so happy that her sister did not join him and instead tricked him and locked him up to protect her sister. I thought Josha Stradowski did a great job as Rand this season, who is trying to learn more about what is expected of him as the dragon while keeping it a secret that he is alive. It was interesting to see him talking to Logain as well to get more of an idea of what happens to men who channel, which is something that's a pretty big plot point in this series because we learn and it is stated many of times that men who channel go crazy. I like that he is learning that he has to pave his own path because people on the dark side and on the light side both really don't seem to care about him or his needs or his wants, but only really about his power. They did a great job of showing that he is very powerful, but there are skills that he needs to learn, and raw power is not everything. I was wondering why he was carrying around that sword the entire season because he didn't even use it once throughout the season until the very end for a very simple kill. I thought that if he was going to have that blade, that he was going to be out here slicing and dicing, but it was mainly just for show. This season explained the Amerlin seed more, which is something that confuses me because I wondered how much power she had. We see how much she is respected, but this season showed that she can physically control Aja, who are not listening to her orders, like when she was talking to Moraine and forced her to close the waygate. When talking to Rand, we also see how she is pretty powerful because she shields him from the one power with ease, proving once again that his raw power isn't everything. We come to find out that even though she is very powerful, she is no match for Lanfear, who takes her down with ease, but luckily Lanfear decides to keep her alive. Natasha O'Keefe was so good as probably one of the more powerful Forsaken, Lanfear, who really kept the viewer on their toes because we didn't know what she was up to. We see throughout the season her getting close to Rand, and we come to find out that she dated a dragon in the past, and she thinks that somehow she can get him back. And so we really don't know if that's why she was getting close to Rand because she wanted to date him or she wanted to use him to get a past lover back. There's just so much we don't know about Lanfear's plans, but she's definitely one formidable foe. Her character was so interesting because she seemed to have a plan in place to get Rand into Falm, but was also working on other things at the same time and was so smart. And I really couldn't hate her, even though she was supposed to be the villain. She also is a force to be reckoned with her attacking the city where there are a bunch of Ajas, and then single handedly she took down the Amerlin seat with ease and probably had one of the coldest lines of the season. A broken Amerlin is more useful to me than a dead one. It was just like, I'm keeping you alive because you're a pawn on, my chessboard. Not because I actually like you, but it's just because I'm going to use you in the future. I really hope that Lanfear comes back. Even though the other Forsaken are released, I think that she was just perfectly casted and she definitely helped make this season even better. Perrin learning more about his wolf brother side was interesting, and I want to see more about how it will benefit him. In season one, they don't really explain much, but in this season, he finds a mentor in Elias Machera who gives us much more insight on what Perrin is, but I feel like he really hasn't unlocked his full potential, and I look forward in future seasons for that to happen. I feel like Matt has been given the crap end of the stick because out of all the Two Rivers people, I feel like he is the one that is constantly underestimated and people have completely lost faith in him. He was in prison for most of this season after the event of last season with the knife and him being separated from the group. And he is eventually let free, but we come to find out that this is actually part of a plan that Leandrin and Ishmael had put forth so that he could possibly kill Rand by touching the ruby hilted dagger again. Matt, however, is smarter than they think, and at the end of the season, he doesn't take the ruby hilted dagger that they leave for him, and instead, he ties it to the end of a pole so that he can use it without it exerting its control over him. In the end, he blows the horn and brings back the heroes of the horn, and he blurts out that he remembers, which I think that means that he remembers that he is a hero, even though everyone views him as a failure. I need to learn more about the Black Aja as soon as possible. We know that the Aja say that there are three oaths that they have to take, but I need to know a little bit more info on how the Black Aja can break these oaths and also how many of them are there being spies in the White Tower. We know Leandrin is one, and I'm interested to see what happens when people find out that she is a traitor and what she will do to get out of that situation. I kind of hope that they capture her because I hated her character because she was rude, but also think that she would be a good little side villain. This show is one of the shows that has lots of names thrown out that you may not know are important, but you will start to piece together who they are and realize that they are actually very important. There are people on this show that have been around for longer than a normal lifespan. So some of the characters are from the past or might be people who are alive and may be important in the future. So you have to remember some of their names. We are slowly introduced to new locations, which shows that where we were in season one is a small piece of the world, and that the channelers aren't viewed the same across the world. It was cool to see Sanchin and how they view their channelers as lesser beings and have them be slaves or damane, as they call them. It was interesting to see how the politics of the world are so different wherever you are, and that the Amerlin seat's influence only goes so far. The channeling in the show is just so beautiful. I love how the show talks about the wheel and threads on the wheel, and then have their version of magic look like threads of light. The movements that they use when they are using the one power is choreographed so well to the point that sometimes if they're doing something big, it seems like a dance, like when Moraine took out the ships at the end of the season. I also thought it was cool how Rand's is like light and dark, which to me perfectly showed that he is not settled on which side that he is actually on. My favorite part of this season was Egwene's storyline, which is just one of resilience. She was one who was always in Nynaeve's shadow whilst they were at the White Tower, but one thing I noticed is that what she lacked in power, she made up for in smarts. She is still very powerful, but she uses her knowledge to get out of many situations, and even though she is always in Nynaeve's shadow, she still cares about her and is the one person trying to make sure Anise makes it out of her trials. I was so sad that she got captured and made a Damane, but loved that she never lost her fight and was going to come out on top no matter what, and vowed to kill her Saddam, which is like their master. During the final battle, she sees her moment, and the best part of the season was born. She puts a collar on her Soldam and displays her smarts while telling her that the reason that they can control these Damane is because they have a bit of the one power, but they are so weak, and the Soldam doesn't believe her until the collar activates, and she becomes Egwene's prisoner, and she instructs her former Soldam to free Egwene, which was so badass to see how she used the slaves' methods against them. She gets free and keeps her vow and kills her Soldam in a empowering scene. After all of this, she is completely exhausted. She is able to still hold her own against Ishmael, who is way more powerful than her, but she is able to shield the rest of the team and give them some time so they can help Ren. Egwene is a force to be reckoned with, and I'm looking forward to her growth in future seasons. And I think that Egwene is the perfect example of how raw power isn't everything. You can be have like raw power like Rand and still not know how to do certain things. But with her, she is one, very strong, but also she is very smart. So she combines both of those and uses them very effectively. And I think that in season two, it proved that she is one of the strongest characters in this show. The Wheel of Time is a great addition in the fantasy world. Throughout the show, we see weaves that intertwine the characters and see how their individual weaves or storylines have gotten them to where they are and made them stronger, and get hints as to where they can possibly go. I really hope that we get more seasons of this show because there are just so many more questions that need to be answered. Thank you for watching my video. I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, please do so you can keep up to date with more of my videos. But besides that, everyone stay safe, have fun, and goodbye.